Hey, we're back on time here this week. Halfway decent halftime, if you will. Anyway, here from Salisbury High School in downtown Pennsylvania, it's Crazy Time along with JJ here, and as Lehigh Valley Storm football is right here on Storm Radio and Hot101.net. Lehigh Valley Storm with a 35-0 lead over the Northwest Giants. I mean, it's been a completely dominant performance so far by the Storm, and the Giants will be kicking the ball away to begin the second half, and you're not going to believe this, but when the Storm get possessions, unless they run the kickoff back for a touchdown, they're going to have their worst starting field position of the day. It's a short kickoff, and taking along the far sideline looks like Jaleel Clark. He'll break a tackle at 35-40 to midfield. He'll bounce off another one and go down to the Giant 45-yard line, so it was not their worst starting field position of the game. Your first half thoughts, JJ?
I feel like the Storm came out and played well, really well, started in the first half. They established a run, and through the air also, they had a couple key pickups and first downs and just guys breaking tackles. I feel like they really came out, started real strong in this game, had a great overall performance in the first half.
Yeah, we'll recap how the scoring went in the first half in just a couple of minutes as Jimmy LeHue and his crew comes back onto the field. LeHue to open the scoring through a swing pass to Michael Thomas, and he ends up scoring from 46 yards later on a pretty much the same play. Went to the left side the week before against the New York Predators, bounce off two guys, and find yourself running into the end zone. I made it 7-0. Then a wide open pass to Devon Gordon on like a third and a yard from 35 yards out. That made it 14-0. While more on this in a moment as LeHue goes pistolero on 1st and 10 for the Giant 46-yard line. LeHue hands off to Sean Myers. Myers sweep right, crossing the 45, tries to juke a tackle, gets to about the 40-yard line, and that's where he'll be down after a gain of 6 on the play.
You could have drove a truck through that hole. Zach Yankovic had a great block, pushed his defensive end out all the way out, and Sean Myers picked up about 6 yards there on first down, and the Storm are back at it.
Well, they're obviously not letting up, that is for certain. 35-0 to score. I mentioned the first 2 touchdowns that the Storm scored in the first half. The third came on a Raheem Ridley touchdown run from 5 yards out. That made it 21-0, and that was the quarter-time score. 2nd and 4 from the 40-yard line of the Giants as LeHue takes a snap. Another handoff to Myers. Myers does not get much that time. A good tackle by one of the linebackers, number 8, and forces him for maybe a half a yard. So we're just going to say third and probably about 3.5.
Yeah, Myers really had nothing much to do there and turned a little bit of something into nothing, and it's going to be a 3rd and 4 opportunity here for the Storm to try and convert and keep this drive alive.
And the other 2 scores by the Storm in the first half, a second touchdown pass to Devon Gordon on a 2nd and goal, I think, from like the 5-yard line. And then it was Sean Myers who had a 8-yard touchdown run to close the scoring in the first half. That's why it's 35-0. There haven't been any turnovers in this game, believe it or not, but the Storm haven't needed to gain any of them. 3rd and about 3.5 as LeHue hands off to Myers, who reverses direction, tries to break a tackle, and he almost slipped out of a couple. He's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage at the 40 as numbers 4 and 22 tackled him, but we got a flag down toward the end of the play. We're not sure exactly why it came on the near side of the field, but it's going to be a face mask against the Giants, and that's probably going to be a first down.
That's a huge mental mistake. They came out and a great kick return by the Lehigh Valley Storm past midfield, and the Giants stopped them, and then on 3rd down, once again, kicked themselves in the foot and cause an automatic first down with a 15-yard face mask penalty and keep the drive alive for the Lehigh Valley Storm.
And I believe for Major League Football rules, they go by NFL rules, so it is a major face mask. 15 from the end of the play, and the Storm now has it at the 25 of the Giants as I give JJ his stool back.
I felt awkward for a minute. I didn't know how to do it.
That awkward moment went... Anyway. 1st and 10 for the 25 of the Giants for Jimmy LeHue. He's back to pass, looking in the pocket, throws it deeper on the right sideline. The pass is...
What?
Incomplete. It was in double coverage intended for Jaleel Clark, but I think it was just a little bit too far to the right, and Clark could not bring it in. He wanted to make it 40-plus for the Storm, didn't quite do it that time.
Yeah, and he went to one of his favorite receivers in Jaleel Clark right up the sideline. That would have been a circus catch as well, but you could tell here that the Storm are definitely not letting off the gas and definitely trying to attack here early on in the second half.
That is very true. I mean, obviously, you would think that if they score on this drive, we're going to see a lot of the reserves here for the coming second half, for the second half later on. But I want to mention a person that we forgot to make a minor clarification to after this play. 2nd and 10 for the 25-yard line for Lehigh in the Pistolero. Takes a snap, inside handoff, and that's Ridley. Ridley will push his way to the 25 and down to about the 21-yard line, where number 13 is able to make the stop for the Giants.
That's real interesting what they do there with left tackle Zach Yankowicz. He's almost not lined up in the backfield, but he's off the line of scrimmage, and they can't not have him in motion. But on the first play, 2 plays ago, they had him to the right and now to the left, and he's really just a big athletic offensive tackle, and they're moving him all over the field right now. So it's interesting. I've never really seen them do that before with a left tackle.
Well, remember, you're up 35-0. You can pretty much try almost any and everything at this point. 3rd and 6 on the 21-yard line. Lehigh in a shotgun. He'll take the snap. He'll roll around to his left, fumble the ball, but he picks it right back up. He's still rolling on his feet to about the 15, and may have just lunged over for a first down to 14-yard line. We almost had butterfingers by Lehigh, but he was able to recover it, refocus, and they do move them chains as the Storm get into the red zone again.
That could have been very costly, but Jimmy Lehigh bobbled, caught it, and did a little spin move and picked up a first down on about 3rd and 5. Very athletic play by Jimmy Lehigh.
And good concentration, too, on the quarterback who's thrown 3 touchdowns today. 1 to Michael Thomas and the other 2 to Devon Gordon. Here, the Storm are at the 14-yard line after that 7-yard run by Jimmy Lehigh in the Pistolero now. A receiver on each side, and now they're using a tackle as a fullback who's going to line up on the left. And here's a pass by Lehigh who's going to throw it the middle, and the pass is just out of the reach of Jaleel Clark, incomplete. Good play action idea by Lehigh, but unfortunately the play went Lehigh.
Yeah, and they tried that Jaleel Clark little skinny post again, and he had him, and Lehigh's throw was just a little bit off there, but that was a touchdown opportunity for the Storm.
And let's also not forget, you're up 35-0. Mentally, it's very hard to kind of get yourself back into tip-top shape. You have to keep in mind, the Storm led 34-0 at halftime 2 weeks ago against the Northeast Eagles. Didn't score at all in the second half, but luckily the Eagles only scored once. 2nd and 10 from the 14-yard line. The Giants. Lehigh will take the snap. Hand off to Ridley. Ridley crosses the 10 to the 5. He's in again. Welcome to the end zone. Raheem Ridley, believe it or not, his 2nd touchdown of the game, this time from 14 yards out, and the Storm crack 40 as they about to tap the extra point. 3rd rushing touchdown of the game for the Storm.
Yeah, and he was just shot out of a cannon. He just took that ball and he was gone in for the touchdown. And last game he had, I think it was 12 rushes, 126 yards, and a touchdown. He had that long 70-yard run. Last game was his coming out party. He's really not looking back from there. He's having a great game also today, and he'll add a touchdown to his stats.
I guess he liked the interview we did last week on postgame. All right, Appleman on for the extra point with 10:20 left here in the 3rd quarter. Fick to hold. Here's the snap. The kick. Oh, snap. It's blocked. Volleyball spiked to the side. Only the 2nd missed extra point of the year for Bobby Epperman, but that's okay. 10:20 left in the 3rd quarter. The Storm now 41-0 over the Northwest Giants.
Yeah, they have to be happy with how that drive turned out there. And all starting with that great kick return, and then Jim Lehigh on that little bobble on that 3rd down. A couple of missed throws and a little communication error, but they got the run game going there. A little Myers, and then Ridley punching in for a touchdown.
And you're going to see a heck of a lot more running for sure, considering what the score is right now at 41-0. We just got this update. The New York Venom have recovered a fumble and scored. They lead the New Jersey Bravehearts 6-0. So we're going to continue trying to give you a score updates as we go along. By the way, I forgot to mention as a clarification, as we ended the first half, we had a defender for the Storm incorrectly labeled as Anthony Alexander. The person who made those 2 tackles were Claudel Morgan. He's the guy that's wearing number 63, and turned out Big Black gave me that correction during halftime. But remember, this is semi-pro football. What do you expect?
Exactly.
Just like limo, my 5 favorite words, subject to change without notice. You can put that in life itself. All right, Epperman will kick this thing off as the Giants are going to try it again and try and drive down the field and break their shutout. Here's the kickoff. It's high and end over end. It's going to be over. Number 25 said, he's like, forget this. I'm letting it go in the end zone for a touchback, and the Giants will start from their own 20.
And Appleman let out a little bit of frustration on that blocked extra point there and booted it into the back of the end zone. It looks like there is a couple subs on defense maybe coming in for the Storm, so it should be interesting to see how the Giants attack that.
Well, now for the Lehigh Valley Storm, yeah, you're going to definitely see probably the regulars like Kreider and Peters and even Tajmir Flood. Hey, he's allowed to rest too. We don't want any scary injuries. I mean, after what we saw in Las Vegas last night, it can happen to anybody.
What happened last night?
Well, that's the whole reason why I mentioned on the invocation to pray for Indiana Pacers player Paul George. And if you take, I mean, it's not for the squeamish if you haven't seen that play in that U.S. Scrimmage that was on ESPN. And to figure that it had to happen to a star player like George, oh boy. It reminds me of a couple of things which I'll mention momentarily. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. His number 2 is in the I formation this time. He will take the snap and roll to his right. Let's see what happens here. He gets a block, and he's going to be forced out of bounds at the 13-yard line. That's going to be a coverage sack, and Phil Tucker's going to be the one that gets credit for it because he was closest to the ball.
Yeah, that was just a design quarterback rollout to the right, and he had nowhere to go, and Phil Tucker just forced him right out of bounds for a loss there, and once again, Northwest Giants are moving backwards.
Yeah, but getting back to that injury by Paul George yesterday reminded me of Napoleon Kaufman, 1994, for the then Los Angeles Raiders, that season opener against the 49ers, a Candlestick, where I don't even want to describe the way his knee bent in the opener, and he was just never the same. And then last year, of course, Kevin Ware from Louisville, who since transferred to another school a year after it happened. But
really?
Yeah, he did transfer. I don't know exactly where, but after what we saw with Paul George yesterday, obviously our best wishes for a speedy recovery for him. They are saying he's hoping to get back onto the court for the 2015/16 NBA season. Obviously, he'll be out for the coming year for the Pacers, who are the most snake-bit franchise in NBA history. But anyway, back to football. 2nd and 16 from the 14-yard line. Number 2 dropped the snap, and he's going to have to fall on it and loses another yard to the 13-yard line. So another missed exchange?
Yeah, no, they really can't get anything going here. Another drop there, and that's a big second down. They need their yards here and to get things going, and it looks like they're struggling again into the second half and carrying over what struggles they had from the first half.
That is true. And Ed in Somerset actually checked in with me. You forgot about Joe Theismann for the Redskins. His career ended against the Giants. But anyway, 3rd and 17 from the 13. Handoff number 24, tackled in the backfield at about the 9-yard line. And once again, that is, I believe, Luther Wilson.
Yeah, no, he's having a great game. He didn't let the running back go anywhere there, and he just wrapped him up. And that was 3 plays in a row: the fumble, and then the quarterback force out, the rollout to the right, and then TFL there for Luther Wilson, and then the Storm defense is just getting off the field, and looks like the Storm offense is going to have another chance to score, hopefully after this punt return.
And I'll most certainly have more reserves in regards to their next drive. But number 6 is back to punt for, I believe, the 7th time and the 8th overall punt by the Northwest Giants as we're approaching the halfway point of third quarter, and Storm with a 41-0 lead. Here's the snap, and a punt not so good this time, but it takes a Giants bounce and goes out of bounds their own 20-yard line. I mean, number 6 had a couple nice punts. That one went off the side of his foot to the left, and it's only going to be a 12-yard punt, and the Storm going to be in the red zone already.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, once again, definitely that punter and long snapper problems they've been having all game for sure. And with a score of 41 to nothing right now, maybe some subs should come in and maybe just try to get the running attack, keep it going. I can't see him really attacking the end zone through the air, but we'll have to see.
Well, I mean, I can understand working on a bunch of plays, and we are now in a situation where we're kind of like filling time here at 41-0. Yeah. I mean, this is hard for announcers to do, and I think what they're going to do now is a running clock, which is only fair. We see this a lot in semi-pro football. When a game is pretty much decided, then it's pretty much you just run the thing until the very end here. So the clock continues to run as the Lehigh Valley Storm lead 41-0 here. But LeHue is still in the game, believe it or not. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line of the Giants. He'll take the snap. He hands it off. That's Myers again. Sweep left, crossing the 20, 15, 10, out of bounds at the 9, as number 54 pushes him out of bounds. A gain of 11, and a 1st and goal for the Storm after that.
Yeah, and just a little dive out to the left and pick up 11 yards. And I'm real interested watching this Zach Yankovic in motion as that like fullback type player. He's listed obviously as a tackle and is the anchor of the Lehigh Valley Storm offensive line. But it's interesting how they're using him, and as you can see from what you're listening to right now, it's been very effective.
That timeout is brought to you by Pepsi.
We have a timeout called by the Northwest Giants, their first one of the first half of the second half, rather, as the public address guy informed me Pepsi's the one that sponsors this timeout, and kind of helps me try and find their sponsor if I can only find what it says. Yeah, of course, Lehigh Valley Storm football, presented by Pepsi. See what's now and on the verge by going to Pepsi.com and feeling the real big summer of the Pepsi Pulse. While we have this timeout, the other sponsors, of course, include Kula Children's Center in Allentown, A&H Sporting Goods on West Emmaus Avenue in Allentown, Kaplan's, which you can check them out, kaplanawning.com. You can also call 610-258-5319 for more information. Harmony Press Incorporated, the Scott Family Group of Cars, Blackman's Cycle Center, let's not forget about that, and, oh yeah, maybe you're going back to Schrudy's on Monday, are you?
Yeah, I'm not really sure yet. I mentioned before that once Steve lets me know, but it's going to be a Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. live remote. It's going to be really exciting and interesting inside a bar, and there's going to be players and coaches, and we're going to be doing interviews, and it's just going to be a post-game wrap-up show. And from the looks of it now, it's going to be a good one, up 41-0 here. 6:40 left.
Okay, 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. Again, the pistolero is LeHue. They line up a receiver on each side. And Yankovic again. Here's a snap. Handoff. And no, it's going to be LeHue keeping it to the 5. He scores! Welcome to the end zone! This time, Jimmy LeHue on Greyhound. He ends up parking the bus after a 9-yard score. And the Storm have added now 47 points to their repertoire. My goodness, the scoring average is insane.
Yeah, Jimmy LeHue really is. He's been throwing all these touchdowns, and he wanted to grab one on his feet right there, and he had an option to pitch it out to the running back, but did a fake pitch and just decided to take it in for a score.
And Ridley was the back that I think they were going to try and send it to, but LeHue found some open pay there and said, you know what, I'll do it myself, and he did. And Eppelman comes on yet for the extra point. Now keep in mind, the last extra point was blocked. Eppelman has missed 2 of them this year. But not to worry with the Storm having such a big lead, and now everyone getting a little jumpy here. I don't know why, so it rains yellow for a rare time.
Yeah, it looks like a false start there on the right guard.
It is indeed a false start. So for the second time today, Bobby Eppelman will try a 25-yard extra point.
Yeah, the first one was good, so let's see what he's got here. It looks like they're sending a lot of guys up the middle, so they're going for a block, regardless of the score.
Well, they got one earlier, so let's see what happens here. A 25-yard extra point for Eppelman, another botch snap, and the whistles blew before the kick went on its way, and now referees are just throwing flags like they have nothing better to do, so we're not sure exactly who moved or what.
Another penalty on the play.
So it's 6:34 left in the third quarter, and it looks like preliminary indication might be neutral zone infraction on the Giants, so the last couple minutes, you might as well just take it on your digital board and just edit it out and pretend it never happened.
Yeah, it looks like there's someone being pushed off the field here. I think finally some frustration is starting to show from this Northwest Giant football
I see that on the far side of the field, number 24, obviously not too happy with things at the moment. I think it might be offsetting penalties for all we know. And now players are starting to change up. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to do unless there's a timeout that was called by the Storm. Or I don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what's going on here either. So it looks like maybe it was a declined penalty or
I think, you know what?
The extra point was good, folks.
They decided, even though there were no officials standing, I mean, obviously you can fall asleep in a 47, now 48-0 game. Yeah, the extra point's good, but the officials decide not to raise their hands, probably because they're on deodorant. So they said, okay, kick is good, and we'll just penalize from there. So obviously, communication is mentally becoming very low on the priority of everybody at this point, including us.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like we always have that one very confusing call from the refs each game, and this is the third one here so far. So,
well, all you can do is laugh about it. After all, it is semi-pro. There was a personal foul against the Giants, which caused for the second time in this game, for the kickoff to occur from the midfield stripe. Now, I don't know why they're doing sirens at 48-0, but, you know. We got to pick on the folks in the control room here. But in any case, Eppelman will kick off from the midfield stripe. Both returners for the Giants standing about 8 yards deep in the end zone. I guess we're going to see if who's that kicker from Tampa Bay from 07 that won a game like on a 60-yard field goal? Sorry, I had to remind you.
No, I know who you're talking about. I'm an Eagle, yeah. It was in Tampa. It was a 63-yard field goal. Was it Matt Bryant?
Yeah, Matt Bryant. Well, he just pulled a Matt Bryant and kicked one through the uprights for a touchdown.
Yeah, my brother was living in Tampa at the time there, and he was at that game. I remember it. I remember like it was yesterday. sour feeling in my mind.
Well, if you think about this, consider us, and we've only done what, almost 3 games here. We have not seen everything yet.
No way we haven't. But
in the famous words of Merrill Reese, we have now seen everything after that kick.
Yeah, seriously. Well, what was it, like 63.5 yards?
It was a 62-yarder, and I actually caught the Eagles had scored with a minute and a half left on a Westbrook 50-yarder, then I lost reception as I was in Newark doing a pickup, and now I'm listening on the radio, and when I heard Tampa won, I'm like, oh my goodness, the world's going to survive.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Are you an Eagle fan yourself?
No, my team's going 1-15 this year. I can promise you that. So you don't have to worry about us. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Back goes number 1 now. A quarterback in the pass up the middle, incomplete. It was intended for, I believe, number 80, and Phil Tucker was in on coverage, but they're trying anything and everything right now. The Giants trying to get points on the board as we're going by the running clock with under 6 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah, and this team really hasn't gotten anything going all day, and the secondary of Lehigh Valley Storm haven't really been tested. And overall, though, the front 7 for Lehigh Valley, they're really getting to the quarterback, wrapping up, and making big plays. We don't have too many turnovers, but they don't need them. There's just been 3 and outs all game, and forcing the Northwest Giants to punt the football. So.
Well, keep in mind, too, the Storm had 5 takeaways in last week's game. There hasn't been 1 takeaway all game long, except for a whole bunch of punts by the Giants, who I think have punted 8 times in this game. 2nd and 10 for the 20. Number 1 back on a Cole Rush blitz. Pass is caught by number 11, and then he breaks a tackle and is going to the 40, to midfield, to the 40, 35, tripped up at the 32-yard line. Was there a flag near the far side of the field? Because it almost looked like it might be a face mask before he broke, but I'll tell you what, that is a heck of a gain of 49 yards to the 31-yard line. Great play by the Giant receiver.
Yeah, that was a great play, and the big play that they were looking for. Number 7, Tajmir Flood, had a big opportunity there to come up and make a big play, but the wide receiver made a great move and took it for like 60.
Wow, that is quite amazing, that play. I mean, the Giants could have obviously used that a while back, but down 48-0, they want to make sure and try and get something on the board before they take their drive back home.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to try and keep this little momentum that they have and try and punch something in here.
Biggest play of the game for the Northwest Giants at 49 yards. 1st and 10 now for the Giants at the Storm 31. Deepest penetration, a one-hopper to the quarterback, number 1, who decides to keep it on a draw, spin across the 30, and then go down to the 29, maybe a 2-yard pickup. It looks like Quadell Morgan was in on the carry. On the tackle, rather.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a little mishap there, and I thought he was actually going to score. It looked like, but it was a great tackle by the Storm secondary. So they're on their heels a little bit here, even though 48-0. They don't want to let up a score. So I'm going to see what the Northwest Giants are going to pull out.
Well, here's another thing. Another team that was on their heels. We saw them 2 weeks ago, the Northeast Philly Eagles. They played a tough one against the Delaware Legacy. We just found out in extra time, Delaware defeats the Northeast Eagles 14-8. The Eagles fall to 0-3 on the season, so tough loss for them. 2nd and 9 from the 30. Here's a handoff. That's 24. Break from a tackle. Crossing the 30. A flag down. 25. Down to the 24. Pickup of 6 on the play. But there may have been a hold on the left side, and we'll see what the officials say.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the flag was. There was a bunch of big pile up there, but I have to wait and see what the flag is on.
Well, what it is going to be a hand to the face against the Storm, so that's going to move the chains for the Northwest Giants, and they're going to get a rare first down as they're going to penalize 5 yards from the end of the play.
Yeah, and they haven't really been penalized too much in today's game. There was that weird penalty on that punt, but mentally they've been playing a pretty good game. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a major face mask against the Storm, so it's going to be half the distance, and it'll be 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line as the Giants have their best scoring opportunity of the day. As Terrell Ellis now comes in for the Storm on defense. And there's also an official timeout, even though the clock continues to run. Now down under 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Storm in total command 48-0 right now. There's a fumbled snap, a collision, and the Storm end up recovering the football. And the man, that's Joe Davis. Joe Davis ended up picking up the fumble. It was a bad snap. Number 1 could not handle it, and Joe Davis picked it up, got tackled. He didn't hear a whistle, and then all of a sudden, the whistles blew. So finally, the first turnover of the game, and the Giants have been denied access to the end zone.
Yeah, and just when you think the Lehigh Valley Storm defense is bending a little bit, they didn't never broke and not really forced a tackle, but recovered it there. They got a little help from bad quarterback-center exchange, but definitely something that they're looking for, and Joe Davis made a nice recovery.
And there have been a couple of those today for the Storm, and that time Joe Davis, I mean, if he had not been touched, he would have been off to the races. Now it would have been a fumble return for a score. Now remember, there was a game last year where the Storm won 63-0, but then the early part of the final quarter, they did call the dogs off at that point in time. So now they'll run the clock again. Remember, playing in a running clock situation as it is 1st and 10, Storm of their own 25-yard line. And Caleb Fick is in the game now. He'll take the snap. He'll lateral to the left. Forward pass incomplete. Intent for Yusuf Reddick. So I thought it was going to be a lateral, but they decided no, it was actually a pass. So incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, a little bit low throw by Caleb Fick there. Just trying to hit Yusuf Reddick on a little swing pass, and it looks like there's a couple subs coming in for the Storm.
Let's see what it looks like in there.
Yeah, as we're getting somebody sneaking, peeking into the press box here. Now, you got to go down to a concession stand to get one, you know. Hey, we got to have some humor around here. 2nd and 10 now from the 25. Back goes Fick, looking, throws left, and the pass is incomplete. That one was intended, I believe, for, looks like John Kennedy was the intended receiver.
I think it was Gordon.
No, I'm sorry, Devon Gordon. Sorry, the 2 and the 8 are confusing. I mean, I complain about uniform numbers all the time. These are readable, but it's crunched.
Yeah, regardless of who it was a little bit of an off throw by Caleb Fick, but running clock, and they're definitely trying to get into practice for Fick in the wide receiving core here.
Yeah, and Jimmy LaHue done after being involved in 4 out of the 7 touchdowns, 3 of them in the air. On 3rd down, back goes Fick. He's looking. He's being chased. Runs into his own man. Bounces like a pinball in the other direction. Has a lot of room to run if he wants to. Crossing the 25, 30, 35, and gets out of bounds at the 37-yard line. That's a first down, a gain of 12. Fick probably ran for about 80 yards, and almost like Michael Vick.
Yeah, just
a little slower.
Yeah, just like Michael Vick. A little slower for sure, but that was a real nice play. He almost got crushed in the backfield on the right side and ducked under a tackler and took it for a first down.
Okay. Well, we'll find out. Oh, okay. So we'll try and find out more about the Storm's next home opponent, but we'll figure that out eventually. But anyway, 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line as Fick has the ball. He snaps. He fires. That pass is caught along the right sideline and brought down about the 41-yard line. Is I can't see. Michael Thomas was the one who caught it. Yeah. So a pickup of 4, and I think the Storm will just be happy to let the clock run out, and we will come to three-quarter time here at Salisbury High School in what has been an out-and-out rout from the Roadrunner cartoon of the same name from 1965. So three-quarter time here in Allentown, it is the Lehigh Valley Storm 48, the Northwest Giants nothing. I'm sure I need to get you a little sponsorship on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Pepsi is a big sponsor that was just picked up a couple weeks ago, and Blackman Cycle Center in Emmaus, Pennsylvania, located 4911 Buckeye Road. For more information, call 610-965-9865. Also, Scott Cars. They have 5 dealerships, all located 3333 Lehigh Street in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Harmony Press Incorporated. For more information, go to harmonypress.com. Kaplan's Awning. Go to kaplanawning.com. A&H Sporting Goods, located on Emmaus Ave in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And Kula Children's Center, meeting your child care needs, located 833 North 13th Street in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And by the way, remember that Pepsi is proud to sponsor Lehigh Valley Storm football here online, courtesy of Storm Radio, of course, whom you can always check out lvstormfootball.com and click the Storm Radio link. You'll be able to listen to our games, and if you can't make the trip to Albany next week, you'll be able to hear it right here online on Storm Radio. Big game between the Lehigh Valley Storm and the Albany Maulers, whom I'll mention a little bit more as we go into the final quarter. As a reminder, Pepsi is proud to sponsor Lehigh Valley Storm football. See what's new and on the verge by going to Pepsi.com and feeling the real big summer of the Pepsi Pulse. And the Pulse is right now pretty healthy for the Lehigh Valley Storm. They lead 48-0, 21 the first, 14 the second, 13 in the third. And I'm going to be interested to see what the stat numbers are. 3 consecutive easy games, and I didn't think this one was going to be easy, but for one, the weather held up beautifully, and number 2, I mean, the Giants were just completely discombobulated from halfway through their first drive.
Yeah, for the first game of the season, it's definitely, guys going both ways, it's tough, but the Storm are playing a great game overall.
All right, Caleb Fick in the shotgun now as we begin the final quarter of play. 2nd and 8 from the 40. Here's the snap and a throw to the middle. Caught. That's Jaleel Clark midfield, and racing he goes to the 40 and goes down to about the 32. The man who tackled him also lost his helmet, but it ends up being a 28-yard gain, and the Storm will move the chains again.
Yeah, that was a nice throw, a nice catch by Jaleel Clark there, and he took it. He could have scored, I think, but he got shoestring tackled up. And also note, Isaiah Green is in the game at running back for the Lehigh Valley Storm.
Yeah, we haven't called his name yet this year, and I mean, like I said, the rotation of running backs are very critical to the Storm's success, and here I'm sure Green will have the final quarter here. 1st and 10 from the 32, and speaking of Isaiah, he gets a carry, but not a successful first carry as 2 defenders, including number 15, tackles him right down at the line of scrimmage, so no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, not much doing, and the defensive line for both teams actually have been playing well all game, but the offensive line for the Storm has just been getting a great push all game and creating holes for the running back to find holes and get big gains.
All right, 2nd and 10 from the 32-yard line. Caleb Fick, the quarterback in for Lehigh. 4 receivers, 3 to the right. Doesn't matter. Got to hand it off to Green anyway. He crosses the 30 and goes to about the 27. A 5-yard pickup, and number 4 for the Giants makes the tackle.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Green's going to come in and carry this ball. He's being the 3rd running back behind Myers and Raheem Ridley, so I'm excited to see a 4th quarter dose for Green.
Well, remember, we're dealing with a running clock here as the Lehigh Valley Storm lead 48-0 over the Northwest Giants. On the first play, they basically defined how the game was going to go on Lehu's strike to Michael Thomas. Thomas ran for 40 yards after the catch. 3rd and 6 from the 28-yard line. Fick will take the snap. He rolls, has his time. Pass is caught nicely by, looked like Yusuf Reddick. He went up and got it into the red zone again, and he goes down to about the 14-yard line. Another 14 yards for the Storm, and they move the chains again.
Yeah, that was great great hands there by Yusuf Reddick. He just caught it, turned to pick up some good yards after. The little guy's fast, but he's got great hands as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, he sure showed it. He almost like wanted to jump from a springboard, and he was able to snag it down real quick. 1st and 10 now, Storm in the red zone now at the Giants 14. Reddick in motion. They think about the end around set. Go inside the green. He'll get to the 20, the 10. He's in! Welcome to the end zone. No, it's not Isaiah Green. It is Rob Kuzer who's able to get the carry and go into pay dirt from 14 yards. And the Storm have pretty much hit the speed limit.
Yeah,
at least on I-78.
Yeah, exactly. And just when I'm excited to see a little Isaiah Green, they bring in the next guy in. I think that's the guy who showed that little bit of flash in the first game that we were talking about. Remember? Number 23, late in that first game versus the Northeast.
Against the Eagles, okay.
Against the Eagles.
I'll have to go back on my footage and check, because, I mean, I can't quite remember because the Storm uses so many people. Extra point coming. Here's the snap. Kick on its way. And now the I-78 speed limit through Allentown is 55 miles an hour. 11:40 left here in this one. And the Storm now 55-0 over the Northwest Giants.
Yeah, and this is just how the coach planned it up in this third game here. They really they played great now in 2 games and then 3 quarters. They let up 9 points. This defense is playing absolutely tremendous all game. It seemed like they just kept pushing the Northwest Giants backwards and just played a great game overall. Obviously, 11 minutes left in this game, but that's what I'm taking from this defense.
And you're right, the friendly reminder. 131-9. Isn't that something? And here's something else. The Storm have scored the last 90 points. Think about it. It was 7-3 against the Predators. And the Storm scored 35 straight rather, and have added 55 more here without being scored upon. Now watch that be the kiss of death.
Wow, yeah, exactly. It could be a jinx there.
Well, hopefully the jinx won't happen next Saturday, because remember, they're going to be playing the Albany Maulers out in the University of Albany, and keep this in mind, folks. This is a team that is finishing their league season, so this is an interleague friendly matchup. The Maulers are finishing their season while the Storm are about to play game number 4.
So, what do you have more about, like, what's on the line there? Do they need a win for the playoffs, or?
Well, I think they've only lost 1 game, and that was to the Piranha, and that was like 51-32 if I recall correctly. But then the Maulers came back in a big-time revenge mode as we see the kickoff going to number 25, who loses the football. He's got to kneel down the end zone, just take a knee, and the Giants will take the touchback and start 1st and 10 for the 20. As I was saying about the Maulers, remember they lost to the Central Penn Piranha in their league 51-32, but in a revenge game just last week, they destroyed the Piranha 41-13, a very rare loss for Central Penn. I think the Maulers may only have 2 losses this year, and the end of their schedule is 3 straight home games. So they played the Piranha last week, they have a home game this weekend, and then, of course, we visit them next Saturday.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game up to end off their season. During the week, we'll find out more exactly what is on the line and what it's going to take, but definitely a red-hot Lehigh Valley Storm team versus a team that's already played a full season of play, so the mental errors on their part should be small, so it could be a really interesting game.
I really think it will be, considering you have to remember that the Giants today are playing their first league game against a Storm team that played 2 already. The Storm next week will have played 3 games under the belt against a team that's played 9. So that's going to make for an interesting role reversal in next week's contest in Albany. Certainly looking forward to it as the clock is winding down. They are playing a running clock as the Giants get a last-second substitution, and it's 1st and 10. Coming up on 8.5 minutes left till time, and the Storm in the route 55-0 at this point. Number 1 actually did well, quarterback, until he fumbled the last time in possession. Takes a low snap, and he's going to go on quarterback draw, but not far at all. He ends up losing a yard. And I don't know if it's going to count as a sack. I know Kreidler is still in the game, surprisingly enough, but Keenan Walls was able to bring him down.
Yeah, and Lehigh Valley Storm,
they're played by 50. Carl Kreider.
Yeah, there was
they will give the stack to Kreider.
There was about 3 guys in that wrap up. They can give halves to a bunch of guys, but they're really getting after the quarterback and just not really giving the Northwest Giants any chance to make a big play at all.
So what happens if 3 people get in on a sack? Do you give them thirds? You might want to confuse the stat people just to really tick them off. 3 or 4 or 5 people in a sack, so you have to take 2/3 of a sack plus 1/5 plus 1/3. I mean, just drive people crazy with those numbers. Anyway, 2nd and 12 in the 18-yard line. It's number 1. Will take the snap. He's going to throw to the right, and it's over the head of one of the receivers and toward the direction of another on the far side. Number 12 was the intended receiver, but the pass was incomplete. And I believe that was Terrell Ellis in coverage there.
Yeah, and he actually had some good time there to make a throw and just overthrew it. A little hitch route, a little 8-yard hitch route out.
Folks, if you want to take your pictures and get
all right, so as we're coming up on 7 minutes still time, the Storm leading 55-0. I mean, we still have to call the game even though it has been completely one-sided all game long. I mean, there are other announcers that decide to talk about other things while things are going on, and it's like, okay, please, let's just hear what's going on. Yeah. They probably do that because people aren't interested, and like hardly anyone's listening, and the game is over and whatnot, but we still got to be professional about it. So, 3rd and 12. Hey, it's a learning experience for you as the intern, you know?
Absolutely. This is my 3rd game calling ever. So.
And mine too!
Yeah.
3rd and 12 on the 18-yard line. Number 1 in the shotgun this time. Takes a snap. Being chased under a rush. Tries to get out. Cannot. Down he goes. And brought down by Sean Hill, who certainly is not over the hill in this game. He's had a very nice game for the Storm defense as the Giants again will go out and punt.
Yeah, and he was in on that last sack also, so he just picked another one up there, and he's even with 6 minutes left, up 55-0 here in the 4th quarter. He's showing that he's got a great motor and he's getting after the quarterback.
And Howard Gaber's telling me I need to interview this guy for post game, and you know what? That may not be such a bad idea. Get him and Devon Gordon with his 2 touchdown catches. I think we have it all set. Well, let's see, we get the banner and stuff out, but in any case, it is 4th and 13, and number 1 is like, you know what, should I punt or not? Number 6 is actually behind him, and this will be the 9th punt for the Northwest Giants today. Number 6 has been involved with all of them except for the first one, which I think number 1 kicked straight up in the air. Here's the snap, and he does get a decent punt away, and it goes past Rodney Gilmore, catches it at the 47, breaks a tackle, gets to the 40, and a shoestring tackle. Nicely done by number 21 of the Giants. Trips him up at the 39-yard line, and that's where the Storm will start.
Yeah, he was gone if he didn't get that shoestring. The Lehigh Valley Storm, which I've noticed through 3 games now, set up a great wall on their punt return game, and he could have really took that for a touchdown, but a nice play by the Giant defender.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have not stopped playing. They're doing the best they can. They've been clearly overmatched today. But with these Philly teams, and Commissioner Dexter Gervin has said this to me over the years, the Philly teams, they never quit. Even when they're down, especially in the case as they are 55-0 right now, these teams do not quit. They play the whole time, regardless of what the score is, and such is the case that we just saw on special teams a moment ago.
Yeah, exactly. And Hart isn't something that is that fault for this team. It was just a couple mental errors today, and they really couldn't get it going. But I have to give credit. Being down, it is tough to play, and these guys really are out there giving it their all.
All right, so Caleb Fick back in the game in the shotgun. They're going to line 4 receivers, 3 to the left, but I would suspect it to be a run. They hand it off to Isaiah Green. Green bounces off a tackle, gets to about the 37, but that's as far as he'll get. A pickup of 2, but no big deal as the Storm just let the clock run down, 3:45 and counting, and the Storm with a 55-0 lead.
Yeah, 55-0 lead. And what was that you said before? 31 to 9?
Yes, 30. Do the math. 34-6, 42-3. 55-0.
Yep.
We're in triple digits, and the Storm defense looks like they're going to be holding them to single digits 3 games in a row. But next week, in 2 possessions, that could completely change. 2nd and 10 from the 39, rather. They hand it off to Green again. Green pushes up the middle and dives over to the 35. He's able to get a couple more yards, and it'll be 3rd and 7 from the 35-yard line.
Yeah, you really could say there could have been 3 shutouts in a row. There was that late touchdown in the first game, and then a 52-yard field goal, which nobody thought the kid was making, and he nailed it. So this Lehigh Valley Storm defense is from every aspect, defensive line, linebackers, and secondaries, has been playing great throughout 3 games.
And the only score they allowed was in the 4th quarter of that Northeast Eagles game. Now on 3rd and 7, here's a pass. It is caught in a big hit on Yusuf Reddick, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. 2 Giants slowed him down. And it's a 1-yard loss, so I would suspect we'll just punt it away because we're going to be approaching a 2-minute warning momentarily.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that number 22 kid again. He came up and he had a nice hit there early in the first half. So he's not playing a bad game himself, but Reddick took a nice little hit there on 3rd down.
Well, it looks like they're going to go for it, and I think what they'll do is just try and run up the middle. But I think, will they let the clock run to a 2-minute warning? I don't know. Fick on 4th and about 7 from the 35 takes the snap. He's going to pass it. He's going to roll left, throw deep along the left side, and the pass is tapped and incomplete. He threw it into double coverage, and the intended receiver... The intended receiver that time was Art Sanders. He was in the left side, but he was in double coverage, and a 3rd person actually tipped it away. So the Storm turned the ball over on downs for the 2nd time, and now we're technically at the 2-minute warning, and the Giants will receive the ball with
that is the 2-minute warning.
A minute and 45 seconds left. Although our public address guy says 2 minutes left, and the score clock reads a minute 45.
Yeah, so
I say do the math, and I have to come back and pick on somebody.
we got to throw him a couple shots over there once in a while.
No, well, just as long as it doesn't knock us in our head, you know. Hey, we got to have some fun. I mean, after all, unfortunately, the game's been so one-sided. Sometimes we have to do a horrendous comedy routine. I'm not playing the role of Shem Howard. You'll probably give me 2 pokes a lot by Mo. It'd be a little bit ridiculous. Either that or you just run reruns of the 1934 short 3 Little Pigskins, you know? Hey, Lucille Ball was in that. Hey, think about this. Lucille Ball was in that short. So, hey, you gotta have some fun. I don't know if I got a real comedy crowd listening online. And for those of you who have been listening to Storm Football and Lehigh Valley Storm Football, we, of course, thank each and every one of you for putting up with us, as horrendous as our jokes have been. But, of course, we want to thank the sponsors, too. Kula Children's Center, A&H Sporting Goods, Kaplan's, Harmony Press, Buca de Beppo, the family dealership of Scott Cars, Blackman Cycle Center, and, of course, the main sponsor for Lehigh Valley Storm, Pepsi. And I'll mention them one more time as we go along here. 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. As number 1 is back to pass. He's looking. He's going to throw a deep ball on the right sideline, and he throws that all the way to Route 22 incomplete. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, they're just looking to try and get a big play here, and nobody likes to get shut out. But let's see what they have. What is it, a minute and a half left?
Yeah, and remember, it is a running clock, so they're not stopping it for anything. I'm sure the officials want to have their late dinner wherever they decide to go, too. 2nd and 10 from the 36-yard line. Like I said, I have so many papers here. It's always good to have the stats, but it's not good to have the same stats and basically the same papers and get outdated information. But, of course, I will be making sure to get the email sent early come Thursday or Friday, print it all out before making the 5-hour trip to Albany.
All right. 5 hours?
Well, for me, it's going to be 5 hours. My folks will be with me for that one, for the Storm game against the Albany Maulers. I'm not sure how far your drive is, but...
is that the University of Albany, correct?
Yes, that's as far as we know. On 2nd down, number 1 back to pass, tries to throw it, and he just does as he gets planted. Incomplete.
Brian
Prince Alvin was the person who... was the one on the rush here. By the way, Lehigh Valley Storm Football is presented by Pepsi. See what's now and on the verge by going to Pepsi.com and feeling the real big summer of the Pepsi Plus.
6, 6, 7.
I think one more play for the Northwest Giants as they continue to run the clock, or are they not going to run the clock? Remember, it is a running clock because of the score, and the Giants are going to try one more time, and Yeah, I think they said just stop it, and then let's see one more play. So we'll see what happened. The Hail Mary full of grace. Third down, the ball is dropped by number 1, and a running back falls on it, and the clock will run out, and that will do it. It is another Lehigh Valley Storm win, and this time convincing. 55-0 over the Northwest Giants. Now, we will come back and talk about this a little bit in a moment, but
that's it.
we have one more thing going on here before we get started, and this is something that I remind everybody for each of our broadcasts. A gentleman that plays for the Lehigh Valley Storm who has cerebral palsy, his name, Corey Martinez. And now, before this happens, we have an injured Giant on the field. Hold on a second. Before we get to that ceremonial play for Corey Martinez, there is an injured Giant, and we're very thankful nobody was hurt throughout the game, and that is a very important thing. But evidently, on the very last play, I'm not sure who the guy is that is on the ground, so let's hold on for 1 second here. A couple of the Storm players making sure he's all right. I mean, it's bad enough that the Giants fell 55-0 today, but to have an injury like that at the very end. Remember, that's why we talk about fellowship, as the coaching staff helps the gentleman up, and I don't remember who the number is. He's now shaking hands with a couple of the Lehigh Valley Storm people, and they're now all gathering here as...
it looks like the quarterback, I think.
No, number 11, I think. Yeah, he's one of the receivers, actually, for the Giants. But, okay, and what they're going to do now, and this goes on for every game, win or lose for the Lehigh Valley Storm. Let's get back and talk about Corey Martinez. He's a wide receiver now. He is a ceremonial person for the Storm team. He has cerebral palsy. And what they do, regardless on how the score is at the end of the game, what they'll do is give Martinez the ball, and he will run into the end zone. Basically a special moment for a very special person. So now, what they're going to do is they're going to line up at about the 25-yard line. So I think when you were talking to me off air that they were going to try and get him to do a 100-yard punt return or something, but that's not going to quite happen. But what they're going to do, and now the Giants are going to line back up. Now, this is a very good case of fellowship and sportsmanship. They will let Martinez score here, and Bob Kohler is out there behind the official. Some of the others have walked off.
Number 10,
they do take the snap, and now they'll give it to Martinez. He will go on the left side, and
breaks 2 tackles.
Let's see what happens here. He's going to steal one, and he's going to take it into the end zone. And he's not going to have very much resistance.
Corey Martinez with the 25-yard touchdown. The Storm has scored again. So Corey Martinez's touchdown run.
Ceremonial play. I think we got to get a sponsor for this, and I think and you would maybe think probably one of the healthcare people might be a good sponsor. I'll have to talk to Steve and see what we can gather with this. Because remember, this will be going on for each game at the end of the year, regardless of how important the game is and regardless of whether the Storm win or lose. But it's always a good thing to see something like this at the end of the game to help a very special man.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's such a feel-good moment, and he's a part of the team. He's a guy out there, and he works hard, and all these guys love having him around. And to see him score a touchdown like that late in the game, every game, it's really it makes you feel good. Really, what word am I looking for? Great feel,
not just
great tradition.
Yeah, tradition, great sportsmanship, great fellowship, all that type of stuff too. So the Lehigh Valley Storm, they end up winning 55-0. Let's recap the game very quickly. On the first play for the Lehigh Valley Storm from scrimmage, after forcing the Giants to punt, it was Jimmy LaHue for a screen pass to Michael Thomas, and like last week, goes into the end zone from 46 yards out. That made it a 7-0 lead for the Storm. They made it 14-0 on LaHue's second touchdown, a 35-yarder to Devon Gordon. Then, toward the end of the first quarter, there was a touchdown run by Raheem Ridley from 5 yards out. That made it 21-0 at quarter time. Then, Jimmy Lehigh threw his third touchdown of the game by connecting with Gordon again from a short distance. I think it was 7 yards out. That made it 28-0. Then it was Sean Myers who scored from 8 yards out. That made it 35-0. Then in the second half, it was Jimmy Lehigh that used his feet to get into the end zone, and that made it count 41-0 with the extra point block. Then it became 48-0, and I forget how that touchdown was scored. I think it was a Sean Myers score yet. No, it was a 14-yard touchdown run, if I recall correctly. And I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. All I know was that Rob Kuzer had a touchdown run toward the very end. But all in all, it ended up being a 55-0 rout for the Lehigh Valley Storm. I mean, I didn't expect the final to be like that. I was looking more like 28-14. But then again, we had no idea what the Northwest Giants were going to be like. Obviously, they were completely outmanned. I mean, you got to remember, people playing multiple positions, and it's very hard to come back when you're down the wrong end of the scoreboard and you're having to play both sides of the field, especially when you come to a critical moment of the game and you end up having such a situation to face.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot low scoring also. 55-0 they came out, and they played great offense, defense, and special teams, and nothing really at fault that you can blame. That really sticks out, that you could say that they played bad, because they really didn't. They played great. Offensive line played great. Defensive line played tremendous. Quarterback Jimmy Lehigh missed a couple throws, but I think he had a couple touchdowns, 3 through the air and then one on the ground. So he kept doing his thing, and he had a great game as well. The defensive secondary for the Storm wasn't really tested today, so guys like Tajmir Flood couldn't get that 2 interceptions game that he's been used to having. But coming into this game, weren't really sure about the Northwest Giants, and the Storm just came out and played their game, and what happened is exactly what they wanted to happen. They won 55-0.
And I want to make a clarification. Raheem Ridley actually scored his second touchdown of the game at the beginning of the second half, and it made it 41-0. And then Lehigh ran one in from 9 yards out to make it 48, and then Rob Kuzer had the 14-yarder to close the scoring, and that's why the Lehigh Valley Storm ended up winning by a 55-0 final count. So I would say a grade A performance 2 weeks in a row. You got to consider, when you've scored 90 points in a row, you want to hold on to that streak as long as you can, but next Saturday, reality's probably going to set in.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. From what I know, Albany team that is ending the season with Lehigh Valley, so it's going to be a lot unlike the team that they played today, who was their first game. It's going to be complete opposite, and it's going to be the Albany Maulers' last game. So it's definitely going to be a dogfight and an interesting game up in Albany next Saturday.
Absolutely right. And as I mentioned before, the Maulers finished their season with 3 consecutive home games. Of course, last week they got their revenge and beat the Central Penn Piranha. They have a game this weekend up in Albany, and then next weekend we come calling. And I think that's going to be a heck of a test for the Maulers, considering the Lehigh Valley Storm, they're now 3-0 in the season. The Northwest Giants fall to 0-1. You can only imagine what it's going to be like somewhere in the Tri-Capital region at the University of Albany next week. Now, obviously, if you can't make the trip up I-88 or I-87 or however you want to get to Albany, even by 787, just trying to get through, if you have enough toll money, that is, we, of course, will be here online, here on Storm Radio, to bring you all the action. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Any final thoughts on this contest today?
Just exactly what I expected, not score-wise, but just the way that they played. Mental mistakes were kept to a minimum. They had that one forced turnover, and they just played a great game overall. And after 3 games of play, and I'm new to this team also, I like what I see.
I do as well, but now playtime is pretty much over, and I think it's going to be a very important week of practice for Coach Kohler and his crew when we get going next Saturday. Remember, we'll be right here. If you just go to lvstormfootball.com for all the latest information, sponsors, and all that stuff. We're proud to represent the Lehigh Valley very well. And for those of you who may not live in the area and just listening to Semi-Pro, and get some commentary out of it, we, of course, appreciate each and every one of you, and major thanks to everybody for making this online broadcast possible. So once again, next Saturday, the Lehigh Valley Storm will be on the road, their first road game in 3 weeks' time, as they will play the Albany Maulers. The game is slated for around 7 o'clock at the University of Albany. All you need to do if you want to go to the game, go to lvstormfootball.com and definitely check out the information there. Also, remember, if you can't make it to the game, we will have it broadcast online somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock on August 9th. Just go to lvstormfootball.com and click on the Storm Radio link, and we'll be certain to give you the action there. And of course, I'll try and talk to JJ and give you my thoughts, because it's going to be a very interesting interleague friendly matchup come next Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the word friendly, and that's the right word to use, but I think it's going to be a real tough game. I'm not really sure about the style of play from this Albany team, but any team that has 1 or 2 losses on the season, it's going to be a meaningful game, and they're going to try and end it off on the right foot, and Lehigh Valley Storm is red hot right now, so it's going to be real interesting to see what's going to happen.
Let's just say this. From an Albany perspective, this is the perfect opponent to face when they're working for their postseason in their league.
Yeah,
something to think about here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
By the way, one score to report to you I forgot to get. The Somerset Bears leading the Brooklyn Mariners at the half by a count of 14-7. Other games we want to mention real quick. The Delaware Legacy in extra time beat the Northeast Eagles 14-8. Additionally, the New Jersey Spartans, winners of the Westchester Warriors 20-8, and the New York Predators over the New Jersey Longhorns by a 31-0 final score. So while we go ahead and wrap this up right here, remember next week, the Storm and the Albany Maulers from Albany. If you can't make it to the game, go to lvstormfootball.com and click on Storm Radio. You know we'll be promoting that game like heck, and I'm sure Albany will be doing theirs as well. But just remember one thing. Got to try and come through with a very important broadcast for both of us for next week, because I think a lot of people are going to be listening to, I'm not going to say a Clash of the Titans, but a great game between two very good ball teams.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, and it's going to be a tough trip. I didn't realize it's only like an hour 50 away from me, from what I understand, but it's a long drive from here, so we definitely have to be on our A game next week. For sure, I'm expecting a much closer second half and a lot of listeners, being it's such a far game.
Well, let's put it this way. Get your popcorn ready and get your toll money ready, too, for the throughway. Anyway, that's going to do it here from Salisbury High School here in Allentown. For JJ and the entire Lehigh Valley Storm crew, our thanks to Steve Lombardo, the owner, of course, our stat guy, Rick Schmidt, the PA guy, and everyone else involved here. It's a crazy one. Tom Wilkins signing off for now. Once again, your final score here from Allentown, the Lehigh Valley Storm 55, the Northwest Giants 0. We'll talk to you next Saturday night from Albany, New York at the University of Albany. The Storm playing the Albany Maulers. I can't wait for this one. Have yourself a good night, everybody, and hope you enjoyed this broadcast here with the Lehigh Valley Storm, courtesy of Storm Radio and Hot101.net. It's been a presentation of the Lehigh Valley Storm and everybody in Major League Football.